Hello, and welcome to another Logic tutorial with me, Ed the Shed. My name is Ed, but I'm not a shed. In this video, I am going to give you a few tips on saving CPU in your projects. This is quite an informative tutorial and there is a lot of talking, but I will show you a few things as well. If you don't even know what CPU is, then I recommend you watch this video, as it will be of importance to you at some point. Saving CPU can end up being quite an important aspect of your production, especially when you start using lots of bloody amazing third-party plugins like iZotope and Ozone, for example. If you are just using the plugins in Logic, don't think that saving CPU doesn't apply to you. It still definitely does. Logic's Space Designer plugin takes up a lot of CPU if you start using multiple instances of it. So when using reverb, always create a send and place your reverb on the other end. This way you can use one reverb unit to apply effect to multiple tracks, rather than each track having its own separate reverb. This will save lots and lots of CPU. Before I carry on and give you some more gorgeous CPU saving tips, let's just talk about why CPU is bad. CPU is a bit of a bugger. Every computer will have a limit to the amount of CPU it can handle. If you constantly push and exceed this limit, you will start to give your computer a really hard time. Overloads of CPU will cause your computer to overheat, and your fans to go crazy, even when you are not putting it under heavy amounts of processing. So every time you see your CPU meter hit the roof, just remember, you are giving your music-making baby a big kick in the face. The last time I checked, it was a bad thing to kick your baby in the face. So, how can we reduce CPU? The most effective way to reduce CPU in Logic is to freeze your tracks once you are happy with them. When you freeze your tracks in Logic, it creates an offline bounce of the whole track. Although it doesn't create a new track visually, it deactivates all of the plugins on your track and just plays through the bounced down version it created. By freezing your tracks, you can save nearly up to 100% CPU. There are a few things you need to bear in mind when freezing tracks, however. Once you have frozen a track, you cannot edit any of your plugins, or write in any automation for them until the track is unfrozen again. Okay, let me show you how to freeze a track now. Just for an example, I have created one track here in Logic, with lots of plugins in the inserts. If you have lots of tracks with similar amounts of plugins attached in your own projects, then freezing some of these tracks would be a good idea. So, to freeze this track, I will start by right-clicking the track panel over here, then I can select the freeze mode. Now, you will notice that an extra little box has appeared. If you click on it, then freeze mode will be set up but not activated. To activate, simply press spacebar once. Now, as you can see, it is running through the track and it is bouncing down an invisible copy of it. So, now that the bounce is finished, if I come over here and try to edit my inserts, it does not allow me to do so. I can, however, mess about with my mixer parameters, such as my fader, pan, and my routing. Logic's freeze option has two selectable modes. If you select the second drop-down arrow of the two located up here, you will see that you have two options for your freeze mode. When pre-fader mode is selected, your whole track will be frozen, so you can't edit anything apart from your mixer parameters. When you select source only, this will only freeze the signal before it reaches your inserts chain. So when this mode is selected, your software instrument will be frozen, but you will still be able to edit your inserts and automation. Lovely. That is it for freezing your tracks. However, there are still more ways to reduce CPU. Another way to do this is to reduce the amount of undo steps that Logic lets you have. Although this is handy, it comes at a price. Especially when you reduce the normal amount of 20 undo steps to 5 undo steps. This can be hard and frustrating to get used to, but in the long run, it makes you more definite about the choices you make in your production. So, to reduce the amount of undo steps you can have, simply click on the Preferences button and then click on General. Here, you can go to your Edit tab, which is where you will find the undo steps. I have put mine all the way down to just 3 undo steps. This is because I bloody rinse CPU. The options for me are to get rid of my lovely third-party plugins, or to get rid of my undo steps. I think that the choice is pretty obvious. The last way to get rid of CPU is to keep your bloody project tidy. If you have unused plugins that are bypassed in your mixer and lots of muted audio regions, still lying around doing nothing, get rid of them UNIPU. Although they are taking up minimal CPU compared to everything else, they still don't need to be there, so every little helps. Don't forget to keep an eye on your CPU when you are playing through your tracks, by watching this little meter over here. That's it for this tutorial. Remember, CPU should be kept as low as possible at all times, so, man's got to do what a man's got to do, and a lady has to do that too. Thanks for watching, see you next time.